Morn sheds a tear. Our beloved boner pops in. And do chefs take etymology classes? Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton. We are also joined by our very special guest, Miss Malissa Longo. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are reviewing Deep Space Nine's Season 2, Episode 10, Sanctuary, directed by a director we haven't heard of yet on the show, Mr. Les Landau.
Oh, we've heard of him though. Yeah. We've covered Les. Right. Yeah, we have heard of him. This was. I didn't get the boner intro, but I'm sure you'll explain it to us.
Is that your pickup line?
Yeah, I didn't really get the boner intro either.
You did neither. Okay, thank you. Give us some background on that one.
Okay, yeah. I absolutely will. Because this is actually a subject boner is actually a subject that's very near and dear to my heart, honestly.
Wow.
So boner was the name of the character in Growing Pains.
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone was his name. That was the joke. Sylvester Stallone, and then Michael Seaver, played by Kirk Cameron, called him Boner. And he was my favorite character, and a lot of people's favorite character, played by Mr. Andrew Koenig, who is Walter Koenig's son, Chekhov's son.
Okay.
And he also played Tumak in today's episode of Deep Space Nine. He was the kid that goes off on the ship. You know, he was the main lady's kid. And his name was Andrew Koenig, and he's beloved by many. He actually passed away 10 years ago. This February 14th, so in a month and a half, will be his 10-year anniversary. So, you know, I always loved the character, and I was really sad when he passed away. And so
thank you for the background, because there was no way I was going to connect that, and even trying to would have got me in so much trouble. So I'm glad you.
I completely forgot about that.
I do remember Growing Pains with Michael J. Fox, right?
No,
that's
with Kirk. This is Kirk Cameron, right? Or?
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You know, Melissa, when you said I completely forgot about that, I thought you were going to say, I completely agree with you, Cirroc, that you shouldn't have tried to guess what that meant.
Yeah, I thought that was what she was saying too. But so that's interesting to know. I didn't realize the Walter Koenig, is that the pronunciation? Koenig,
exactly,
right?
Yes.
I didn't realize Walter's connection to the whole piece. And the interesting thing is I was with Walter at a convention in Germany, I think it was, when he first got the news about his son. And we took the ride back. When we were leaving the convention, we were on the same ride back to the airport. And that was the time when I really got to bond with him, and he was open about, you know, his feelings and things of that nature, stuff that was personal that I won't really disclose, but it was good to talk to him and kind of be there during that moment for him. Yeah.
Walter's a wonderful human being. We love him.
Yeah, that's what I learned. And he had so many stories, and you know, he talked about living near Westwood. You know, I told him about UCLA, and he was talking about, you know, the rents and what he was paying for an apartment at that time. And I thought it was like ridiculous. I want to say it was like $60 for like an apartment. And I was like, are you serious? Something that ridiculous. And he was telling me it was a lot of money at that time, Cirroc. It was a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, well, too bad he couldn't have kept that one under rent control. That would be the best. Yeah. That'd be paying $200 a month for a 2-bedroom.
Yeah, nowadays $60 a month doesn't even get you somebody's walk-in closet to sleep in. But,
no, that's not even a night at a hostel. I think it's maybe one night.
Not even. So Melissa and Cirroc, you guys probably both know the other very important guest star of today's episode, Miss Kitty Swink, Armin Shimmerman's wife.
Now, that was a question I had wrote down because I wasn't sure and I didn't look it up, but my question was, is Armin's wife Kitty the Bajoran diplomat?
Yes.
Exactly. Minister Rosanne, you nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wrote it down. Because I just heard the voice and I kept looking at her face and I'm like, that's Armin's wife. If not, it's like a dead on knock on, right? I was like, she's perfect. And it was a pleasant surprise, right?
No, yeah. When she came on screen, I was like, Kitty!
Yeah. And so for the background, for people that don't know, Armin's wife, Kitty, is one of the most special people on the planet. She's just got a golden heart. She's very warm. She's very loving. And she just shows that. And she's been like that since I've known her and never really changed, despite different adversities she's overcome with her health. Mm-hmm. And she's just a fighter. She's a wonderful, lovely person. You can't really say enough good things about Kitty, you know.
Well, let's try.
You know, Armin's a great guy, and we love Armin, but she's got she's got him beat as far as our love and our affection. We really love Kitty. She's just as amazing as they come. And I remember at the funeral when I first arrived for Aron's funeral, she was the one that greeted me on the way in. Yeah. And she made me feel really comfortable and at ease. She was, it was kind of that hug and that moment that I needed to kind of embrace with her. And she brought me back from this, place of like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's about to happen. She's like, it's all right. Don't worry. It's under control. You're going to be speaking. This just, I'm glad you're here. And she made me feel very comfortable. And we love Kitty.
Yeah.
And you know her pretty well, right, Malissa?
Yeah. Yeah. She's been wonderful throughout this whole experience the past 3 months. Yeah. Her and Armin, but yeah, Kitty has been wonderful, and she is heart of gold.
Yeah.
She's a special woman. Yes. I love her lots.
and it was a great thing to see her in this episode as well, because the beauty of it is that we're all a big family, and to have her on screen encapsulated in the record with her husband, I think is a great thing too.
Yeah.
It was special.
I was picturing the lunches on set there. Must have been nice. I also enjoyed picturing Walter visiting the set to watch his son work. What a fun time, and there's some really good scenes there. Actually, let's get into that. By the way, for everybody at home that's listening and not watching, this is Flannel Day in honor of Aron. This is a Nog episode, so Malissa is here to join us to talk about Nog's amazing contributions to this episode. And when I saw Malissa and Cirroc were both wearing flannels, I was like, oh man, before we record, I better throw a flannel on.
You gotta go with the theme, man. I thought you got the number.
I'm sorry. I had another thing on, and now I'm hot because it's hot in LA at least where I am in LA, it's hot in January.
Yeah. I'm not going to touch that. I know Aron would be all over. You just left yourself so wide open. I'm sure.
What did I do?
I'm sure Aron would say something about you probably overthinking the boner comment made you a little hot. That's my guess.
Yeah, my guess. Or you would say it, and he would go, "Wow,
wow, that's a good one." He's on fire, ladies and gentlemen. He's on fire.
Wow. Maybe we should start recording again.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Leave yourself wide open for that one. And if I were as quick as Aron, I would have been all over it too.
I want to thank the both of you for being adults about this, and rather than when I leave myself wide open, rather than jumping on me, just say, well, I wouldn't say this, but Aron totally
you like that
joke that I'm going to say right now
that I'm going to throw into his mouth
because he's not here to defend himself.
Well, I'm just paying homage to the wide openness. It has to be delivered. We can't let it go by. You know. So I think it's very appropriate.
Well, my mind went to the other boner before it went to that boner. I have to say, it did. That word just.
Yeah, I mean, you led with it. I had no idea. So thank you for that. That was the great opening.
Yeah.
The great opening for the boner.
The great opening. Yeah. I have a question for you guys because I picked up on this and I don't know if it's true or not. But Brian, did you hear when they first introduced the Bjorn flute player in Quark's bar?
It was like Vendari or something like that.
I think so. Varani.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked his performance, and I recognize the actor. I've seen him so many times. I don't know where, but it looks familiar. But the thing that I noticed was it sounded as though he was playing the theme song, the Deep Space Nine.
Yes. 100%. I thought the same.
Too. Yes.
And then I kept thinking, wait, am I imagining this?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, no, I'm not. He was playing a variation of it, right, Melissa?
But it was like what's it called? And I'm blanking on the word, but
music.
Yes, it was music.
No,
it was like a stripped down acoustic version.
Yeah, and it was a little bit drawn out, a little slower.
Yeah,
but it was definitely the keys.
Yeah.
It felt. And I was like, wow, what other show has played its own theme song in the show? I want to know.
I was like, why not?
It's got to be a trivia question, you know?
And it was so pleasant, too. It was like, it was reminiscent of Deep Space Nine, not 100% on the nose, but very recognizable and obviously beautiful, pleasant, which brings us to our second piece from the very beginning that I mentioned, Morn Shed a Tear.
Yes.
When he was listening to it. And everybody knows Morton talks way too much, even though we never hear it. But this time he was so quiet.
Yes, he was moved to silence. It's funny because I actually have that on my notes. Is Morton shedding the tear?
Yes,
can you see that?
That's great.
Wait, put that up again. That was great.
Yeah, that's my Morton. I was really taken back by the Morton shedding a tear moment. I thought it was hilarious.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's I tries.
Melissa, if I remember correctly, you've got some artistic skill too, don't you?
I do art, yes. I do art, yes. I draw and I sculpt stuff, and I'm working on a few things right now. That are.
Do tell. What kind of form?
Huh?
What kind of medium? What are you, art?
Well,
more sculpting.
That will be coming soon. But I've been playing around with screen printing, and I figured out that I can actually paint onto a screen to make clothing or T-shirts or something else. So that I'm playing around with as well.
Oh, a little teaser for the future, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, a few things in the works that should be popping up very soon.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
And I do jewelry and stuff as well. So,
before we get more into this story, do you have anywhere we can see this stuff, Melissa? I know. Sometimes you would have them. You would have a lot of really good stuff at Aaron's tables and stuff. Do you have anything online?
I do. It's temporarily on Etsy at the moment.
Cool.
A few things, but I will be starting a brand new website that will be launched this month as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for it or something people could search for?
Yes, Walking Art, made by Melissa.
Great. So when that's up, send us the link and we'll put it in the description below.
Yeah, I will.
Right.
Walk in art or walking?
Walking art.
Walking art. Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing around with making art functional so that you can carry it around with you like bags or T-shirts and other stuff. Functional art that you can use every day.
That sounds good.
Glorious. So let's get a little bit more into this episode. since that's why we're here, kind of. Also because Cirroc said he almost bought some LaCroix earlier.
Almost. That's a tease. I looked at the flavors and I started saying, what is it about this LaCroix that Ryan likes so much? It's got to be something.
Could you figure it out?
Not by the box.
I want to try that. The one flavor, it starts with a P.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It's something pomegranate. It looked like pomegranate, but it wasn't.
Pamplemousse is just the French word for grapefruit.
Good thing I didn't. That was the one I was looking at, Melissa. It's funny you said that.
Yeah, I was like, what is that? I want to try it.
Yeah. These fancy guys with their grapefruit words.
Right.
Good. Like, I don't like grapefruits generally, but the pamplemousse flavor of LaCroix is delightful.
Grapefruits are usually bitter, usually on the bitter side.
That. Yeah. But I did try a bubbly sparkling water that was grapefruit flavor, and it was good. And I don't really like grapefruit.
Did you guys say ew when Quark said that that alien species flakes everywhere?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
It's like, ew.
They already had bad skin as it was. And
we already had the image. They didn't have
it looked like a sandpaper-ish, and like real textured, like a wall that has a texture to it.
Yeah. Well, when he said there's little pieces of skin flaked everywhere, and I was like, ew.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Ew.
Yeah, I was taken aback by how fast she picked up on English. She was like, went from not being able to speak anything, right, or not anything intelligible for us, to like dropping a word, to like it was formulating sentences.
Right.
The universal translators kind of warmed up to it, I guess.
Right.
That's what it was.
I mean, they didn't say that, but I'm guessing that's.
Well, they did say that.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah. They said keep her talking so that the universal translator can pick up on it.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's where the connection that I missed, because I heard the universal translator part. I didn't hear the fact. I didn't put it together that it was fixing her language.
Yeah.
Okay.
But along those lines, I did find it peculiar that when they were offering the Varani food, and she's like, "It's really good. You should try it." How do we know that they have the same taste buds we do?
Or allergies?
Or I was like, what if it's poisonous? What if you're like, here, dog, taste all this chocolate. You'll love it. And you kill the dog.
Yeah.
Like, these are alien, and then they still smell from the nose just like we do. They taste. They have the same taste buds. And they're like,
there's
wow.
Still a version of the humanoid entity, I guess. And I guess Dr. Bashir would have picked up on that when he was scanning the one kid's hand for his wound. So,
you're very good with the defense. I like it. You should be on the defense team for that. You got the rationale that there's like, okay, yeah, that's possible. That's possible. But I was thinking the same thing when the food thing, because people have food allergies like peanuts and all these other things.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what if she eats it and she just starts swelling up and she can't breathe?
Yeah. Dies. That's it.
Yeah. I think that too. Yeah.
Or she just says it's disgusting. This is vile.
Yeah.
Like the drug.
I wonder whose idea was to play the theme song inside of I thought that was just great.
Yeah. I thought that was great too. I don't know whose idea that was.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to ask Ira.
Yeah.
I did want to bring up something that I thought was kind of also showed a sign of the times. Like, I know we always see things are kind of outdated, 25 years ago. And no, I'm not jabbing at your outfits, Rock. What I'm saying, I mean, when they said that women are in charge and men are whatever, like, to us, as soon as they said that, at least to me, when they said that, I'm like, oh, okay. And I just kind of put it away and I'm ready to move on, because that's not, okay, some aliens have men in charge, some women, some share, whatever. But 25 years ago, that was so mind-blowing that they're like, yeah, women are in charge. Get it? The women are in charge. What? The women are in charge? Yeah, the women are in charge. But what about the men? Oh, we own them. And we're like, okay, we get it. Let's. But back then it was so it was so backwards to think of that it just shows how much we've changed in 25 years, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, to some degree, but not really to every degree. There's still a lot to go as far as, women catching up in different areas. They're definitely breaking ground in, CEOs of companies and just, do different things around the world, from government to leadership roles. But we also have a long way to go as far as equal pay. And so, I think that they were really touching on something that is traditional. You go outside of America too; it's a well known thing that these kinds of ways happen in favor of the male.
Mm-hmm.
Where they made a point of having, for example, she had a couple of men that were assigned to her, right? And we talk about her bonded to her, right?
Bonded to her, yeah.
And I thought that was interesting that they brought that up because actually I wrote it down as my favorite line of the show.
Oh boy!
What was it? She says, "What was the line?"
I think I know the one you're talking about. It was great. They're very useful.
Yeah, she said no. Kira says. She says, "Do you sleep with them both?" Right?
Mm.
And she's like, "Yeah, they're very useful, right?"
They're
and
very
I thought,
like, I'll bet they are.
Yeah, and I just thought that's the exact way it is used in the opposite way, right?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of men traditionally have been known to have their mistresses and this kinds of things happening. So and it's accepted almost, like,
Mm-hmm.
in some countries it's not even looked at sideways. I know, like in Italy or France, there's many instances of leaders out there having open relationships like these, right?
Definitely in France.
Well, and then there's that, I forgot.
And in other countries too, not just those, but yeah.
Yeah, but there's a tribe, and I forgot what country it's in, but the women do have multiple husbands, where it's opposite
the other way
of,
around,
like Mormonism, where the man has multiple wives, the women have multiple husbands. And I forgot what country that was, and I wish I could remember. But yeah, it's interesting how that even that culture is different on one planet.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point that they were making, as Star Trek is always so good at doing, is they like to kind of say, what if the shoe were on the other foot?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? And they pretty much, if you feel in any way uncomfortable or outraged, then they say, okay, well then think about what you're doing in your own planet right now.
Right.
They do. There was a moment where they kind of came out from the bed, and the way she said, "Go back to bed," it was like, the men are talking here. It's kind of the opposite of that, right?
Yeah, you're here to be seen and not heard.
Yeah. This is not a place for you. You go,
right.
Do your thing. What I need you to do, and it's kind of that same kind of pushing aside that women have felt, for many thousands of years. To that degree, where they don't feel included, or they feel like they're subjugated to a certain role, right?
Yeah,
right.
And you are right as far as us breaking those kinds of boundaries and stereotypes, but it has a long way to go as far as globally. But it's another thing that DS9 does very well, which is put things right in your face by altering it just slightly, or changing, the race or the nature of it, but still having the same issue.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. That's what sci-fi.
We also got the mention of the Dominion in this episode, right?
Let's talk about that after the break. We're about to take a break right now. But this is our second mention of the Dominion. So that's
and I also want to cover, the Jake and Nog stuff, because there was a lot of good stuff there.
Definitely. I agree. All right. We are going to come right back with the seventh rule. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the seventh rule with Cirroc, Lofton, and Malissa Longo. My name is Ryan T. Husk. We are covering Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 10, Sanctuary, directed by Mr. Les Landau. We've had so much to talk about, and we have so much more. We haven't even really gotten to talk about Les Landau, and I think he's okay with that. So moving on.
I think he's all right with it.
Cirroc, you want to talk about the Dominion?
Yeah, I just thought this is, I think, the second time now, maybe. is the second time the Dominion has come up. And it's great foreshadowing for the writers, because it just lets us know, now that we know they're coming, that they had it planned way in advance. It wasn't like, hey, what about the Dominion today? They were thinking about planting these seeds many episodes in, and here we are. They keep whetting our palate, like, who are the Dominion? Who are these guys?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they just whet our palate again. Here you are with the Targaryens,
Something like that.
Something like that. Claiming to be members of the Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really good.
Well, they got destroyed by a race within the Dominion.
Right.
So, and
race.
That's right. And so they're saying, like, and that's what's so cool about it, is the first time the Dominion's mentioned, it's just they're the big players in the Gamma Quadrant. Okay, so we know they're the big players. Now, these people that were basically enslaved by this powerful race, they were freed because that powerful race was destroyed by another race that's within the Dominion, which makes the Dominion just seem like this huge beast out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love that they planted the seeds so early. And I'm like, ooh, that's exciting.
Which is like, if you don't know it, we know now because we know what's coming, down the road. But from the perspective of somebody just watching the show, you'd be walking away asking yourself, what's the Dominion? Like, why do they keep coming up? Why does this keep popping up? And that's what I feel when I hear it. I'm like, oh, wow, the Dominion. Who are they? I can't wait to see who these Dominion people are. They must be running this show. It's like, the Godfather. You got to talk to the Godfather. So it just leaves the audience kind of on the edge of their seat, really anticipating that they're going to get to know something.
Basically, what we know about them at this point is that they're like the major financial power. Mm-hmm. We know that they are militarily powerful to be able to take over this other powerful race. And we know that they're in some way aggressive and or ruthless for them to take over another race. So that definitely plants the seeds of quite the fearsome foe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another thing that I thought was interesting that they brought up was the issue of refugees. Mm-hmm. Yes. And the migration of people, right? We still have that today, like, refugees and migrants moving out of Syria, and you have millions of people going into Turkey and all these other countries surrounding. And you think about what that means, right? People saying, no, you can't come here. And that kind of conversation came up, and there was a good interchange between Kira and that character, the main woman. Yep. In which she basically said, the Cardassians have turned you into cold-blooded people just like they are, because you don't have a heart to accept us, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, which I think was not right on her part, because Kira and the Bajorans hadn't been anything but kind to them up until the point where they said, well, we can't really afford to take you in right now. And it wasn't like they were saying, well, now you're on your own, go find someplace else. They actually went and found someplace for them to live. So it's not like, but you have to be able to take care of yourself before you can help somebody else. And I don't think that the Skreans realize that.
2 points to that. One is that to add on to what you're saying, Malissa, they also held their fire on that runaway ship when I thought for sure, like, okay, that guy's just going to get shot down. But then they patched through. They're like, don't fire on him, even though he was firing back at them or being the aggressor. So that really shows that they are a peaceful people, or at least, reasonable. But, to Cirroc's point, that is exactly the point that they were making, which was the whole refugee or immigration discussion. And what the lady was saying, and I wish we could remember, Hanik was her name. Hanik. What she was saying that was such a good point was she's saying, look, we're not trying to be a burden on you. She was like, we can help you rebuild your country. We're excellent farmers. She was even stating how they could do it. and then Kira comes back with her own good decisions, or actually it was Kitty's character, good points, which was like, even if you don't want to be a burden, we would still feel like
Obligated.
we have to help. We would still feel exactly. I think that's the word she used, obligated to help. So it's a really interesting discussion, which is what Deep Space Nine always does so well, which is they present a situation and they show both sides of it, and they let us see how we feel about it and hopefully apply that to the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing that's really good at is it holds up a mirror. They hold up this mirror to ourselves and culture, right? Mm-hmm. And what our belief systems are. And we start to see the mirror was held up for me for Kira's character in this episode as well. Mm-hmm. So she has been the victim of an oppressive regime, and she's been fighting that, and she's been, this warrior for justice and for her freedom of her people. Now she's put in a position where the mirror is kind of held up to her in a place where she sees somebody that's also like her, but she can't do anything for them, right? At least to what they want done. So it's this place where you're like, wow. I agree with you, Melissa, that she was a little harsh on her when she said what she said to Kira about, you being as cold as the Kardashians and you have no heart. I think that was a little bit over the top, but it also stated how badly they wanted that, right? How badly they wanted that Bajoran space to rebuild their lives.
Right.
So there's the dichotomy of this kind of, we always think of in right or wrong, right? This is good or bad. This is left or right. So we always try to box things.
Yeah.
And there's always these gray areas of like, there's so many factors involved, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm wondering if the reason why they were holding on to Bajor and the idea of going to Bajor so strongly is because there was a bit of fear for themselves, being alone and discovering this new world that they would be resettled to by themselves without the help of Bajorans or being able to fall back onto the Bajorans for help. They could have had every intention not to be a burden on the Bajorans, but what if the crops failed? And what if, there was a famine and harsh winters and what have you? And it would be a bigger catastrophe, I think, for not only the Skrean, but for the Bajorans, who are already a broken people. But I think there's the fear of the unknown of not knowing what Draylon 4, was it? I don't.
Let's see
held
notes. So far, you've remembered all the names. You remembered Skreans, but I had to write that down in my notes. That's for sure. It was Draylon 2.
Draylon 2, but not knowing what Draylon 2 held, but and not trusting that the Federation or the people who had looked for this place for them, this new home, would be able to do it for them accurately or well enough or thoughtful enough.
That's a good point too about them possibly wanting to, move in with the Bajorans or settle in there because of, going out on your own, you're a lot more vulnerable. And this has more of the safety in numbers. And Cirroc, I know I might be the only one, but I'm hoping I'm not. When I first heard Draylon, I thought they said Draymond and my ears perked up. It's a basketball reference for those of you at home.
I didn't get it.
Most people probably wouldn't, but Draymond Green. I do want to move on to talk about Jake and Nog, because I was pleasantly surprised at the kind of not just the scenes, but the perspective that they brought. There's like they're more like the boots on the ground kind of perspective. What are the people thinking? What are the civilians thinking? Not what are the higher ups and the big decisions making, but what's actually going on here. Yeah. And Nog basically squirts fart spray on these guys and runs away.
Yeah, he's kind of a jerk for that.
It's so funny because it's so Nog.
It is funny. It's like this is our neighbor. This is our block, man. You know, who are these guys? They don't get to hang around here and cause trouble. We're in charge of the mayhem around here. You know,
he squirted them with Nog fog.
Yeah, Nog fog.
He initiated them to the station.
I thought that was hilarious. And you know what was funny? Because Nog was so critical. It's like he was saying, look at that. Well, they never heard of a Riplomat before, you know, and while they were eating
right. That's disgusting.
And here he is, the same guy that's asking a girl to chew his food for him right on a date. And I'm thinking like some of your practices are kind of disgusting, right?
Yeah. Or when Jake says, she studies entomology, and he's like, oh, that's so gross. Wait, what is that? And he says, oh, it's the study of bugs. And he says, oh, she wants to be a chef.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. I actually wrote that down. There was a moment. I love those moments that Nog, Aron plays where he is the guy that knows everything, right? That's one of the things that plays heavy in his character. Like, yeah, I know what that is, and then it's like, what is that? You know?
Yeah, this rough outer exterior. Yeah, I'm a Ferengi. I'm a tough Ferengi. But then he's like, oh. Yeah.
And then the fight scene that we had, I thought it was really pathetic. They didn't give us any kind of training with the stunt team.
Did you have like the stunt coordinators for a month for that one? That was unbelievable.
I trained for that. It was called the bear hug rollback. It's the MMA term for it.
In my notes, I called it a tussle. You guys were tussling on the ground.
It was a good tussle. Yeah.
Well, you know, as a good friend, I jumped in and tried to keep somebody off beating them up, right? So
you were a good friend.
You know, and I tried to talk to the guys over there at the Rubbermat and say, hey, come on, guys, you know, my friends, stop beating up on my buddy. But so, I mean, there were really good moments there. What stood out for me were the shoes. When they
love the shoes.
Yeah, when they panned up from us sitting at our usual corner hangout spot up on the promenade, they passed by both of our shoes, and I remember I'm wearing these blue boots that match my blue and green outfit, and Aron has these really cool looking boots on, right? They have ruffles in them. Like these cool ruffles in them, right?
Yeah. I was like, those are really neat shoes.
Those are neat shoes. And actually, you know, came out in my mind. I was like, oh, those are cool boots. Both of us have these really cool looking boots that match our outfits.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me just of those moments of sitting there with the uniform, with the costumes on, and just, you know, just playing it out, you know, just acting these scenes out and really bringing life to this story that we're out in space. So I really love that part.
Yeah.
And I like to see that we were together hanging out and kind of, you know, doing what most kids do on a playground, which is, you know, fight.
Cause mischief,
cause mischief, fight, argue, you know, whatever kids do on playgrounds, you know, and it felt like a little bit of that.
And Nog was a prankster, so why wouldn't he prank the new kid on the block? You know.
Yeah.
And a little DS9 hazing.
And he almost gave up the goods on Quark, which I thought was hilarious too. When he was in Odo's office, he says, "What would your uncle know about illegal arms purchases?"
Right.
And I liked that moment too. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I liked that scene where Nog's in Odo's office and he's going through all of the criminal reports, and because he's obviously been there before. And it kind of shows a little bit of a relationship between Odo and Nog too, which is kind of neat, just subtly, but you know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they had a moment together where there was just the two of them in that scene.
Yeah.
In the office, and I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the interaction with Quark. Armin and Aron were really good in that little moment together.
Yeah.
Where he's sticking up for him, you know, he's punishing him but not punishing him. He's happy that he did it because those guys. what did Quark say? He said, "Look, I'm tired of these guys looking and touching and not buying anything."
Yes.
So I like that one. And then I said, I also wrote down. I said, "Was your dad angry?" And he says, "Yeah, he was angry. He always gets angry when I get caught." No, so it's not. He doesn't get angry for doing it. He gets angry for getting caught doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how much patience Jake has with Nog, because you can tell that he loves his buddy. He loves his buddy. Yeah. And he knows that he's not a bad guy. He's just precocious.
He's just he's an honest person.
Somebody all of a sudden.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Happy birthday, Melissa.
Oh wow! Happy birthday
tomorrow. But
we could stay. We still give some love. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. It is your birthday coming up.
How you doing, Vianne? Vianne, can you hear us?
I can now. Happy birthday, Malissa.
Oh, thanks.
Wow.
Early birthday wishes. Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, sorry. Birthday. What were you saying, Melissa?
I forgot. No, how much
oh yeah.
How patient Jake was with Nog.
Hey, Dean and Heather.
And
there we go.
Happy birthday.
Well, hello.
Happy
Thanks.
Hey, Mohammed's in the house. Hello.
Dean Lucero and Mohammed Noor have joined us.
Oh.
Hey, Melissa. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Happy birthday, Melissa.
Well, we got Megan in the house.
Megan and Rachel are here as well.
Rachel, hold on. This is a lot of screening over my little phone. I got to slide over.
Megan.
Hey, happy birthday, Melissa.
Thank you.
And Garrett says happy birthday as well. He just unfortunately couldn't make it.
Oh, he's a party pooper.
Aww.
Wow, 21 years old.
Hi, Rachel.
Looking good.
Melissa's rocking that lipstick with the beanie cap.
Yeah. Aaron's flannel, his beanie,
You're in.
I'm in Aaron mode.
It's perfect.
Look great.
It's perfect.
His chair, his green screen, so
Green screen's awesome.
We love it.
Mohammed, you took time off from work for a second. Are you at work or are you at home?
No, I'm at home. I came home early. I wanted to make sure to be here for this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So, yeah, Melissa,
Happy New Year, everybody, by the way.
Aw. Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
everybody. Yes, Rachel, Megan. Happy New Year, Dean. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Rachel, can you hear us? Maybe not.
Nice background, Heather. I like it. What is that you put on there?
It's from the Hubble telescope.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I thought it was a DS9 one.
Cool.
No, I haven't found any DS9 ones that I feel are, open source. So I got this nifty.
They discovered that right after DS9 aired, so they actually.
Yeah, that's the wormhole right there.
We helped them find the wormhole, man.
Sorry. Vianne, where are you calling in from? Are you still on the East Coast or are you back on the West Coast?
I'm on the East Coast for now, but should be back West pretty soon. But I do want to show something to Melissa since I've got her for a second.
Please do.
Yeah. Did you see how dirty it is? It's just trashed all along the top because I take it everywhere.
That is so cool.
What is that?
That's a bag that I made.
Oh, wow.
It's a self-portrait of my hand doing the...
What?
I had originally...
Oh!
No, he's
What?
Yeah.
Muhammad's on it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Muhammad's quick.
Hello.
You still
What's up,
selling
Rex?
those, Melissa?
How's it going?
Yes.
And Rachel's in the house.
I believe they are on Etsy.
Hi.
Oh my goodness.
I see Kat and I see Rex.
Who's Kat, our king?
Kat.
Happy birthday.
Hey everyone,
Thank
again.
you.
Happy
I'm
birthday!
this out, sorry.
Malissa.
Man, I need a bigger phone, Travis. I can't fit everybody on one screen. I got to slide back and forth.
Amazing.
Hey, Dean, where are you calling in from?
From Colorado.
Where in Colorado?
So I'm in Brighton.
Oh,
It's pretty close to Denver.
yeah. I was just in Colorado for Christmas with my family. My sisters live out there.
Oh wow! Yeah,
Rex got the beanie on.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing the all
Oh,
flannel day right
yes.
now.
Woo.
Flannels and beanies.
I don't
Come on,
have
Megan.
any
You got to
flannel.
put your flannels on.
Oh,
You guys,
Megan, you're in,
yeah, I'll grab a flannel.
yeah, Megan, you're in Canada. I know you've got flannel.
Oh,
Probably denim
Dean, how
too.
can I not have flannel?
I don't own any.
it's my wait. I have flannel somewhere.
I have like maybe
There
a
we go.
flannel.
Travis is on it.
Yes.
Travis is on it.
I have a
Nice.
flannel blanket I can go
Yeah.
grab. That's
The
about it.
flannel blanket would work.
Uh-huh.
That'll
Well,
work.
if it's flannel design.
Or a beanie.
Or beanie.
I have a beanie either. I have, well,
Vianne, is that a
have to go
telescope
get
behind
it.
you?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Awesome.
You do a little gazing at the stars?
Nope, not at all.
Aw.
More like a furniture piece.
No, I'm more
Two more
concentrated on
flannels.
what's on this planet. So
Oh, okay.
Aw.
I see Megan and Kat have some flannels going on.
Yay.
Flannel. I have flannel. Yes. Every lesbian has to have flannel.
Hey, you know, one thing they did, we didn't get to though in covering this sanctuary episode,
Sure.
but he gave her a little device that plays a hologram of himself playing the flute. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a ripoff from Star Wars to me, from the Obi-Wan Kenobi moment on Star Wars. Did anybody think that?
I did
No.
not think that.
That's blasphemous.
Begin with.
I can't say that. Sorry.
Yeah, that was
Sorry.
only you,
But
Cirroc.
Ooh, boy.
Oh, I'm the only one that saw Star Wars, obviously.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What?
No, but
what?
now that
Star
you
what?
mention it, I remember it now. But
Yeah, it was like a
Remember
little
the holiday
holographic.
special?
I see Bill Erickson. How you doing, Bill?
hello.
About this.
That works.
What is that? Okay, there you go.
Blue sky, Bill.
Hi, Bill Erickson.
Yeah, that's
Buddy.
easy.
Happy
Let's see.
birthday, Melissa.
Hi, thank you.
Wow.
Where are you calling in from, Bill?
Montana.
Montana. What about you, Rachel?
I am calling from Washington.
State?
Yes,
Cool.
Longview, Washington.
Oh,
Then you
wow.
have like 10 flannels.
Yes, I have quite a few.
She out flanneled all of us.
I've always wanted to go to Montana.
Have a
You gotta
flannel
come, Cirroc. It's a
Florida.
beautiful place to be.
I think Aaron said that too. He wanted to go to see the big blue sky in Montana.
Yeah,
Well, I
Didn't he
see
say
the
that?
big
we were
blue.
supposed to take a trip to Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I
one
live
of
up
his.
here in the northwest corner up by Glacier Park, which is one of the
Oh,
most beautiful places in
yes.
the world.
We
Wow,
wanna
I've been there.
visit there. You
You
have
been there?
I was there
Right.
as a kid, like maybe 6 or 7, but I still remember it pretty well.
So like, what, 10, 15 years ago?
9.
9 years.
Wow. Fired.
For me, yeah, that would be 9 years ago.
So obviously there's glaciers there. Is that what they call it? That or is?
Yeah, there's a lot of glaciers there, yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So the southeast is Yellowstone, and then up north here is Glacier Park, and then we got a lot of mountains, and it's a beautiful view all the way around.
It is.
Oh
I've been
wow.
to Montana once, and it was beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, when I retired from the Marine Corps, I said I asked the bride, and we said we're going home, and I was here. So
All right.
Service
So
bill.
we've got a couple minutes
Absolutely.
left. If any of you guys want to say something to Melissa before we have to go, just everybody say it at the same
Oh
time.
my God.
So we can
I think we should get a song. We might as well just
Birthday song.
get the song. We
Oh,
don't,
that's right.
yeah, we don't have to pay any publishing for it. Let's just do
That's
it.
true.
Cirroc, are you gonna do? Are you gonna be like the flute and do the solo?
Oh God.
Oh yeah. Some,
That's funny.
All right, so
With your fire stick there, your apple tea.
yeah, that's my thing. All right, who's gonna lead off?
Oh,
Who's leading off? Ryan, you start us off with the countdown.
Happy
Happy birthday to you.
God, this is terrible.
Happy
Happy
birthday
One more
birthday to you.
Help us, Melissa.
Happy
What?
birthday, dear Melissa.
Happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday
to you.
That was so bad.
I
That
finished
was
That was the
terrible.
warm up. Now we do the real.
That's
thing.
That was so bad it was good.
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that
That
was a
actually-
Les Landau directed that
Oh man.
one. Thanks for
Yeah.
starting us off, Ryan. It was really good enthusiasm.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Energy.
I don't mean to show off, but I got quite the pipe.
Yeah. And Aaron's birthday is 3 days
After yours.
after mine.
Oh,
January
It's
6th.
on the 6th. Yeah.
So this is
Epiphany, born on Epiphany.
a joint birthday celebration.
Yes.
Mm.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Not
my
that-
birthday is one day after Aaron's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
A trained.
That's
Tryon.
interesting.
Yes.
First week of January.
Woo-hoo.
And my
First
sister is on the 8th, so
Oh,
there's a
that's
lot
right.
of January. It's a lot of January people.
My
It's
grandma's
birthday
birthday
month.
is on the 8th.
Capricorns.
Yeah.
Capricorn.
My
Mine's on
grandma's
the
birthday
30th,
is
so I'm an
the 8th.
Aquarius.
Yeah, there's lots of.
Get out of here,
Mm.
Rex.
Lots
It's
of-
your
Yeah, mine's on the 30th. I'm an Aquarius.
That's right on the cusp there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
usually the
Put a water
I
action.
love that song.
You're born in the age of Aquarius.
Yeah. And Megan and Garrett just had birthdays, right?
Right.
Yeah, day apart.
Yeah. Wow.
At
Did you
least
guys have
no,
fun?
thanks,
Did-
Me too, actually.
Happy birthday to you too, Megan, then.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, guys, we are out of time. I really want to thank you all for jumping in kind of last minute.
Pleasure.
With
Thanks
that.
for the invite.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa.
Thank
We
you.
had to do it
Happy
Thank
secretively.
you for all of this. Completely unexpected.
All around the world.
You guys missed it. Melissa was giving us some good gems on the recording, but you'll see it when we post it. But we really appreciate you guys joining in and making this
Yeah.
an even
Thank you,
better
guys.
episode. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Here.
Then
Hey,
we've got a dog. A dog
Garrett,
jumped
we
in
got dog
somewhere.
too. Sign it up.
I'm like, you have to say happy birthday.
Garrett, is there something you'd like to say? We got 10 seconds left. How are you?
He might be
There it
struggling
is.
using his phone.
That's how
Got his
mine
name.
started.
Megan,
right.
say hi to Garrett. Maybe he'll respond to you.
I don't know if Garrett is still.
Here.
Yeah, I sent him a message. He was visiting with a doctor today. So I'm like, you have to make it back, or you have to do this.
Well, he popped on. I see that
Yeah.
he popped on here.
Name's there.
Maybe
Yeah,
he's
his
working on the
name's
audio
there.
issue. Anyway, thank you all very much, and always remember the 7th rule. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the free-for-all. We've got a lot of people here. Cirroc may or may not be coming in a minute. I think he's having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich right now in the Bahamas. We've got Melissa, Travis, Heather, Vienne, Mohammed, Megan, Mr. Rex Wood, our associate producer. We've got Rachel and Kat. How's everybody doing? So we had a really fun episode that we just covered, and that gives us a great topic of discussion. Nog and Jake were involved in quite the tussle today. They were really wrestling around on the floor and getting it on with these other guys. So we want to know, what is your favorite Star Trek tussle? of any series or movie. What's up, Cirroc? We're talking about our favorite Star Trek tussle, and we are starting with probably Heather.
Every when I ever get a break? No. Oh, jeez.
Favorite tussle, huh?
Tussle.
Do the tussle.
Brawl.
Oh man, I cannot come in with anything to mind right now. Like,
we're gonna pass and go to Kat then, because I know exactly what Kat's gonna say.
No, you don't. Wait, is it okay? But I have like 3. There's 3. Can I just say them all?
Say them all. Go ahead.
3 tussles?
3 tussles. Okay, I think, and Ryan's he's gonna be like, wait, that was it? Okay, the number one, my favorite is Kate Mulgrew wrestling with this invisible, imaginary swarm, alien thing, in the macrocosm episode of Voyager, the little germ thing, and it's her, and this one big thing comes at her, and she's like wrestling it, and the actress is just wrestling with thin air. But I love that scene. It shows how strong she is, how powerful, and the muscles and everything. It's like girl power gone like, yes. So that's my favorite. Okay, and then I have 2. The second one is Kirk's fight. That's
what I thought you were going to say. Yeah.
Kirk's fight, David dying, that fight, that brawl, what happens with David dying, that's really bad. And then the one of the greatest ones, but sad. And then the last one I have to say is the big one, the big fight between Kirk and Malcolm McDowell in Generations. I love that big fight that he lands. The great choreographed fight. All of those fight scenes are really well done, believable. So those are my
Everybody, we are joined by associate producer Mr. Homer Frizzell, all the way from New York. He's got a great picture in the background with Melissa and Aaron. Homer, we are talking about, this is the free-for-all, we're talking about our favorite Star Trek tussles. And next, we are going to hit up Muhammad, because he looks very ready.
Well, I think my favorite would have to be the Worf versus Gowron one at the very end of Deep Space Nine. That was really good. But in terms of just an amusing one in Discovery, the Ash Tyler Dr. Culber one in the second season, that was funny just because it was kind of unexpected, but how Saru just kind of sat off to the side and let them do it. I thought that was just kind of amusing. Like, okay.
Yeah, he put his hand up.
Yeah, just let it go. But in terms of the most epic one, the Worf Gowron, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Good ones. What about you, Travis?
Oh, that's easy. I like Kirk versus the Gorn from Arena. It's like an hour-long fight. I love it.
Yep.
I got one now if you want to know.
Oh, please, Heather.
I thought that it was a great tussle in Voyager where B'Elanna was got that the Vulcan mating.
Oh yeah, Vorik.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She got I don't know, infected with it.
Yeah.
And then so it was like literally
Ponfar.
Tom Paris was fighting the Vulcan.
Vorik, right? Yeah.
Vorik?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I can't remember his name. He's not a big character, so.
He's Tarek's twin brother from Lower Decks.
Yeah, I would believe it.
They're fighting over B'Elanna. And B'Elanna basically was like, no, I choose. And then literally, like, they have to, her peers have to hook up or else she's going to die. So that was probably the most memorable tussle that I could
Nice. Good one.
Reminded me of a really good one, too. Go ahead, next. Who's next?
I think Rex Wood is next. He's very ready. He's going to mention something from the original series.
Yes, of course I am. Probably one of the great tussles is between Spock and Kirk when they're on the planet during of course, the Vulcan mating time of the year, Ponfar, and when they get into the fight together during that. And I think that's one of the big choreographed fights where there's a lot of taking your arms and doing that kind of thing on the shoulders, that kind of, yeah, exactly. And then the music, I think that may be the first time they've used that one music very heavily. That's that dun 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 dun. Absolutely, it's got to be one of my favorites.
That's a great one. What about you, Mr. Homer? Commander Homer, I should say.
Well, Rex A. Wood, that was one of the two I was thinking of choosing. So I have to go now to Discovery, and it's one that I recently watched. It's Commander Non and Giorgio as they are in this sort of gravity.
Oh, yeah.
What cylinder? And the gravity's not, it's not there all the time, and they are taking on Leland of Control, and they're getting thrashed. So I like that. I don't know as I'd call it a tussle. To me, a tussle is more like you're fighting over something. There's something that you have to get from somebody, but that's the fight that comes to mind for me today.
That's a good choice.
Great one.
Thank you.
I see we've got a new guy, Fabian. How are you, Fabian? Can you hear us?
I'm excellent.
You've got a very French name.
Very French.
I do. How's it going?
Going very well.
I'm a little discombobulated here.
That's okay. We're talking about our favorite Star Trek tussle. Feel free to listen in and then give us yours in a minute.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got it. Go ahead.
Right. Rachel, what's yours?
I think there's two Rachels.
You, Rachel.
Rachel, is that you?
So I don't have. I couldn't think of anything from DS9, but I think that for me, a standout one is just the episode where Picard. You learn about where Picard, when he tussles at the academy, and he.
Oh yeah.
The Nausicaan.
Essentially, figure out why he has a bad heart.
Yeah,
the one that comes to mind.
Tapestry.
It impacted me as a kid.
Tapestry, yeah.
Tapestry. That was great. Yeah, it's a good one.
Very, very good. One of the best episodes, I think, of Next Generation.
Very good.
Especially because at the end, the realization at the end when Q is saying that Picard never led this away mission, that Picard learned to play it safe. You know, it's fighting.
It reminded me, when Sisko hits Q, that's one of my favorite scenes.
Proud of that.
Picard never hit me.
What about you,
One of my
Megan?
favorite lines.
I have two.
All right.
So one is from the original where Kirk is going against the Gorn. It's just hilarious because he's picking up a boulder that clearly you could tell is styrofoam. And so I find that entertaining to watch. And then from Voyager, 7 of 9 with The Rock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's very entertaining. There's funniness in it, but there's also he's a badass. So I enjoy watching that.
Very good. Very good. Who's next? Who do we have left? Cirroc, are you ready to give yours?
Yeah, sure. Of course, I remember all of the tussles that you guys mentioned.
No question.
Yeah,
no question, right, Homer? My favorite tussle is my own, and that's the episode we just watched. I love the takedown. It was a behind the back grab, fall to the floor kind of thing, and it took me a while to practice that. So I just, that's my favorite tussle.
Sisko the wrestler taught you well, right? Your dad.
That's right. It's my favorite tussle, and probably the only tussle I can think of off the top of my head. So
what about
maybe?
What about you, Vienne?
Oh gosh. Well, I like any time Garrick gets his ass kicked on Deep Space Nine. It happened a few times, and it's always hilarious. But I think I have to agree with Kat about Macrocosm, or as I call it, the Janeway Gun Show.
Janeway Gun Show.
When Jack is coming off and she's all sweaty and kicking that thing's ass, and it's kind of like, wow, I'm inspired to be a badass, but also, wow, is it getting warm? Kind of fighting,
That's right. Inspired me to want to join the army.
Oh, nice. Very good. What about you, Fabien Boutillette?
All right, good. Can you hear me? I got my headset on.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, great. Well, first of all, I got to shout out to Cirroc. Several years ago, I used to run into him at a certain coffee bean. And
what's up, Fabian?
I hope you're well, man. I think about you all the time because, a lot of reasons. I'll just answer the question. But I miss you, dude. I hope you're well.
I'm doing well, man. Long time no
like.
see.
Oh, good. Yeah, for sure. It's been
I didn't
a while.
realize
Good
you were
too.
that Fabian.
It's me, man. I'm honored to have spent so much time with you in the real world, even before I realized who the fuck you were.
We had some good conversations. You taught me about Gore Vidal. I knew nothing about it until
I did.
Until you.
I did.
So thank you.
And then
Thank
it was
you
like,
very
wait
much.
a second, this is Jake Sisko, and The Visitor is my favorite episode of television. I should know who you are. I like when Worf is in the prison camp, the Jem'Hadar prison camp, and he's just being an absolute boss, taking them out one by one, and he's all crippled. And then
when he rescues Martok,
and then Martok steps in and is like, "All right, you've satisfied your honor. Don't get yourself killed." And and then there's a later episode where Martok invites him into his family, and I don't know, those two's relationship always choked me up a bit. But seeing Worf just be an absolute soldier in the prison camp is one of my favorite.
Nice. Cirroc, that's your other favorite, right?
That's my other favorite, yeah. Actually, my other favorite, I did like when Tim Russ guest starred as a Klingon, and he had a little tussle in that episode that I thought was pretty fun to watch.
Nice. He did that DS9.
Lana has a Klingon tussle a couple times.
Well, with Carrie, the very first time she what did she drive a couple of bones into his cerebellum, or almost does.
I think she fights herself, doesn't she? In that one where she gets split by the
Yes, she has to fight herself because they split her DNA off. So there was the human. They took all of her Klingon DNA out, so what was left was just a human B'Elanna who's terrified of everything.
Right.
And then her Klingon self has to save her. So good. That was a good one.
We're joined by Mr. Jim Westbrook as well. How you doing, Jim? Can you hear us?
Hi, this is Jim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, Jim.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Nice. Do you? We've only got a couple minutes left, and we're down to you and Melissa, I believe. Do you have a favorite Star Trek tussle?
I think I joined on at the end of that discussion with B'Elanna, and yes, I agree. That is my favorite one. Mm-hmm. And then they ended up working together in the end. I love that one.
Great. So you and Cirroc agree on that one as well.
Great minds think alike,
Yeah.
That's a great picture of Melissa and Aaron, by the way, Homer.
It is.
Thank you. I stole it from your Facebook, Melissa.
That's quite all right. I love that picture.
Because he's really smiling from his heart right there in that photo. It's just it's a genuine smile.
Destination Star Trek.
It always was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always had a genuine smile, in every photo.
It was just so rich. It's just so deep. Yeah.
Not when he was talking to me.
That's true.
Wow.
Wow. I see how it is.
Had to go there.
Hair on it. You got to tip it.
I know, baby face.
See it better now?
Yeah.
That's my piece of nostalgia I got this week.
Oh, wow.
Look at her hair, though.
Who is that?
That's the new kid on the block.
Yeah, that's the new kid on the block.
That's Aaron.
That's Aaron.
No way.
I have about 100 of those. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them.
This is the moment I fell for Aaron.
Oh, man. Tiger beat. Being aware.
Yes.
Yep, there you go. I love the picture. I love it. It's so good. It's hanging up on the wall. I just took it down. It's hanging up on the wall now. I love it.
Good.
Aaron's in the back. Nog.
Absolutely.
Trying to get the intrigue, the mystery.
Straight from Melrose Place.
The James Dean, the rebel.
Yeah.
Sounds
I think that may have not been too long or around the same time he made Playroom, wasn't it? That he was in Playroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I actually watched that on YouTube last weekend.
I haven't been able to find it.
Does it stand up? Does it hold up?
It's interesting. Let's just put it that
Okay. That's the polite way to go.
That was the diplomatic.
Diplomatic.
Melissa, do you have a favorite tussle?
I'm trying to think. I think probably one of Worf and Jadzia's love tussles.
Places.
Like when they walk in with their injuries into a
yes. And then also the one with Odo and Quark when they're stuck on that frozen planet.
Oh
yeah. That's a good one. Good knowledge. Well, I think, did we get everybody? I think we did. Yeah. I'm going to give a couple quick ones. When you said Guns Out, that made me think of 140-year-old Captain Picard in First Contact. He wasn't really 140, but I was surprised when he's hanging up there and he's got his gun. And so when he and Data take on like the whole Borg everything and just incinerate them all, and it's amazing. But another one that I think should get a little love is Enterprise. There was a scene with Major Hayes and Malcolm Reed where they kind of have like this love-hate, punchy pissy moment, where they're like punching out their aggression, and you're like, you guys just hug, you will.
Get it over with.
I like the Picard Robert fight. That was a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like Safal had a fight scene, but I can't remember who it was with.
Who's that?
Lots of fighting with Suliban in Enterprise. I remember that.
There was an epic one at the end of season 3 with Archer and the reptilian Zindi.
Yeah.
That was good too. On ENT, the one with Trip and that alien on that desert moon.
Oh yeah.
The ENT version of Enemy of Mine is what I call it.
Pretty fit in that fight scene too.
Great. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We got to run. I do want to give a special thank you to Melissa for joining us on this awesome Nog-centric episode.
Love you, Melissa.
Hi.
And thank you to Travis, Heather, Vianne, Mohammed, Megan, and you'll tell Garrett we said thank you for his efforts. And our associate producers, Rex and Homer, as well as Rachel, Pat, Fabian, and Mr. Jim Westbrook. Thanks very much, guys.
Good seeing you guys. Good seeing you guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Always
Fabian,
remember.
man. Good seeing you again, man.
Nice seeing everybody.
Keep your ears open.
Always remember the 7th rule.